Okay, perfect. Yay. All right. Well, I think you should be able to unmute yourself. But will you just start off with your story and just like who you are, how you found this business, and what It Works has done for you so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey y'all, I'm Lauren Ravan. I'm from a really small town in South Carolina. I've been in the business almost 2 years now. And I was one of those people, I'm sure most of us were. I was the total skeptic. I was the hater. In fact, the day that I messaged my enroller, y'all, I had to unblock her. I had to unblock her to message her. And I'll share a little bit more about why I chose her, though, out of all of the people that were on my newsfeed later. But I never even had any intention of using the business or utilizing the business, although we were really struggling. My background or any career experience was in retail management. I had 10 years in that, but I'd missed almost all my little girl's life. And so I decided that I was going to come home. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't believe in MLMs or, I was ignorant. I said like pyramid scheme things. So my husband and I, we tried two separate businesses on our own. One was a group fitness studio. It failed. The other was a bakery. I know, oxymoron. And it was very successful in regards to growth, but we literally worked about 80 hours a week, and that was in addition to his full-time job. And we still couldn't make ends meet. So fast forward to the day that I enrolled, what I wanted was a cleanse. I've heard great things about a It Works cleanse. I lost 90 pounds 9 years ago, and had gained some of that back, and heard great things about our cleanse and wanted to reset our body. And when Dee Brooks is my enroller, she told me, okay, it's $36 to the discount. You guys, my heart sank to the floor because we couldn't afford that. I was like, God, I was thinking it was going to be 40% off. And I don't know. I guess I was ignorant about how much cleanses cost. And I did what a lot of people do. I ghosted her. I went silent. And I am so thankful for her courage and persistency, because about an hour later, she came back and she said, hey, Lauren, I just wanted to make sure, were you interested in trying the cleanse as a customer, or are you interested in trying the cleanse as a distributor and making some extra money? And that question changed our life. If you had asked me 30 minutes prior to that, I still would have said, no way, no how, nuh-uh. But in that moment, it was the craziest thing. I just had clarity. I had this clarity of, okay, if nothing changes right now, then nothing is ever going to change. I will never be able to afford a cleanse or anything for myself, or for our family if I don't make a change right now. So why not? Why not this? I'm a really red personality, and it's funny because my husband is very analytical. His full-time job used to be, he was actually a financial analyst. And I made this decision 100% on the fly, y'all. I didn't ask questions. I didn't say like, well, what's the pay copper? What do I get in the kit? Like, I didn't ask anything. I was just like, make money. Okay. But my husband was on a business trip at that time. And I was so nervous to tell him because he was in Vegas. It was 3 hours behind us. He wasn't even awake yet. And so my goal was, before he woke up, that I was able to either sign a customer or pre-sell one of the wraps that was going to come in my kit or something. So when I talked to him that morning, I could explain what I had done, but that I also had a plan. And the rest is history. I did that, and I was really surprised, but he was crazy supportive. He's continued to be that way. And yeah, 39 days later, we promoted to Diamond. We earned a $10,000 bonus. The following month, we promoted his account to Diamond. In that same month, I went double. And then I stayed at Double Diamond for about a year. And then last May, I promoted to Triple. And here I am. That's my story so far.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that you lost 90 pounds.
True, I did.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Dee Brooks. I know that you've done her story, but I actually used to work for Dee as a fitness instructor, and right after I lost the 90 pounds, but that's how we met each other. And then I thought she had like lost her marbles and blocked her on Facebook, because I was like, of course she's going to drink the green Kool-Aid, and I blocked her and thought she was crazy. But she's the one that I went and unblocked to message, because I knew she'd tell me the truth.
So that's crazy. So y'all knew each other from in person, but you connected and found out about It Works basically from her through
social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually have a lot of people that do that. Like, we know each other in person, but we like started being Facebook friends, and then we connected about the business that way. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So the thing that she did about, so she was messaging you about the products and talked to you about the cleanse, and then whenever she told you the price and then you didn't reply, she messaged you an hour later and said, do you want to try it as a customer or as a distributor? Does she do that a lot? Because that's a really
I know, it's genius. So I wish that Dee was on here, because it's really funny to hear on the other, like once you're on the other side of the business, for her to talk about what was going on the other side. So she had never approached me before. You know, we were one of those families. Everything on the outside looked perfect. I was still we were still driving the same cars that we did when I had a full-time job. We still lived in the same house. Like, I still wear the same clothes. Everything on social media is the highlight reel, you know? And she never, ever once approached me about the products or the business, y'all. And it's funny because she tells the story now that she almost unfriended me. And she didn't know that I had blocked her. But she was like, well, she never interacts with my stuff, but no, I'm going to keep her. Well, the day that I unblocked her and messaged her, her and her husband, Justin, were on the way to the gym, and she made him pull over on the side of the road and was like, oh my gosh, because I was on her chicken list. But what this has taught me is, number one, what a way to follow up when someone ghosts you, right? Like, such an incredible question. And had she not asked that, you guys, I would have never said yes. I would have never come to her. My pride and ego were way too big. I was far too ignorant. That was absolutely God. So allow God to use you that way, you guys. Allow him to use you that way and ask that question. But also, it's insane because she had been sitting at double for over a year also. And for someone who had previously had you blocked, like, imagine that for a minute. Like, someone right now who has you blocked that thinks you're crazy could unblock you and message you tomorrow because of how consistent you are. And they go diamond in 39 days, what that would do for your business. Like, mind blowing, right? So yeah, that's our story.
That is so crazy. Well, and it's cool too because I'm gonna start doing that. Like,
yeah, such a great follow-up question.
Yeah, and a lot of people will say, you know, oh, every time that I, you know, tell them what the price is, they don't reply.
Yep.
Now we have the perfect thing to do. So, like, keep track of who you're talking to, and if they don't reply back to you, message them again in an hour or like later that night and say, by the way, like, did you want to order as a customer or as a distributor? And
yeah,
then,
just want to make sure.
Yeah, that could open the door for them to become a distributor. And like you said, you never know if they're going to be your next diamond, or, you know, maybe they join and don't do anything, but you have to ask.
Never know.
That's so great. I am like, we could just stop the Zoom right here. That was so good.
We're done.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm so excited to hear some of your tips too. But another thing that you said too is that not everybody looks like they need this business. Sometimes we're so afraid to reach out to people. And, you know, Alyssa Billiou says this too, because she was like a blogger. And so bloggers, of course, their pictures are perfect and their life is perfect, right?
Great.
So really, we all have stuff going on. And so it's so funny because we think that, like, oh, I don't want to message them because, like, they don't need this business. You have no idea what's going on underneath this, like, underneath the surface of what you're seeing on social media. So reach out to those people that are on your chicken list that you're so afraid to reach out to. And you have no idea what's going on. Maybe they really need this business and they're not going to be one to admit it and reach out to you first. So that's super, super cool. So one of the questions that we had, hang on one second. 1 second. I have to go back. I don't know why this closed me out. Okay. All right. So somebody said, so I would love to know, these are going to be kind of all over the place, but
Yeah, that's okay.
I would love to know how many customers that you were signing in your first 6 to 8 months versus now. Like, were you just like 4 customers a month steady and you're still 4 customers a month steady, or was it like a boom, totally different, now I'm signing so many people, or what? And what changed if you're signing more now?
You know, I will be honest, I'm a pretty consistent, loyal customer enroller. And I think there's 2 different reasons for that. But anyway, on average, about 45 loyal customers a month. On promotion months, the most I've ever signed, it was like the birth of Host to Post, was like 117 in a month or something crazy like that. But on average, when we went back and looked, it's around 45 loyal customers a month. And you know, that was it from the beginning. I'm in a really small town, and funny enough, Dee and I are in the same town. And imagine, like I said, like we work together, so our networks were very much the same. When I enrolled, eSuite trainings were down, like they were redoing them, and there weren't like units on team pages and things like that. My training was, well, here's your eSuite, and my tip was get your network to 5,000. I didn't know what the steps to success were. I had like Google and hopes and dreams of being an executive, y'all. Like that was it. And I found YouTube and would listen to things, but I didn't know that people didn't enroll a loyal customer every day. So when I first started, and this is so funny now in reflection, I remember I wrote Dee and I gave her my goals. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to enroll a loyal customer each day. Like she was probably like, okay, crazy. But that's what I thought was normal. And I was like, that's what I signed up for, right? I signed up to make money. I make money by selling and sharing products. Well, I worked full time as a baker. We owned a bakery. So like my hands were busy, y'all. I wasn't sitting at a desk with a phone and able to work like in between my full-time job. I was on my hands and feet and using them. So when I had little windows of time, I had to be really smart and intentional with them. So I was learning how to work like broken power hours before I knew that that was a thing. Just out of that was the only way I was going to get it done. That was it. But yeah, I didn't know what it was going to take to get to executive. Like that was my big dream. Oh my God, if I could make $230, like that would be insane for us. And I didn't know what it was going to take to get there. I just knew it would take my best. And so that was the standard. I wanted at least 1 loyal customer a day. And even to this day, if a day goes by, like my husband is like, Lauren, like it is okay. The world is not going to end, but it's just the expectation that I set for myself. I recognize that everyone is different, but once I proved that this is possible, that became the standard for me.
I love that quote that you just said. Like, I wanted to go executive and I didn't know what it would take, but I knew it would take my best. That is so good. That's so good because like you said, everybody is different and it's going to take something different for every single person to promote to every single rank, but it's going to take your best. And that's like all across the board. Like everybody can agree with that. That was so good. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. So another person said, what was the turning point for your business and what events led up to that? Was there a point in your business where you feel like you just kind of like hit this, like, oh my gosh, like either a aha moment or like a D-Day where you just like decided, or what?
Yeah. So from the moment that I enrolled, so I had a fast track to diamond, and I talked about that. And I told you guys, like my goal was to go executive. I didn't even know, I didn't have like charts printed out and stuff like that in the beginning. And I can remember Dee talking to me about the $10,000 bonus, but I thought that was like a scam or something. Like, you know, I was like, no, I'm not worried about that. I just need the 230. That's what I need. And I wasn't overly concerned with the pressure of that. And I think that that's why I had such a fast start, is because I was not concerned with how I was going to do it in any way, shape, or form. And so fast forward, I started enrolling at least one loyal customer a day. That was my goal. It took me 3 weeks to enroll my first distributor, and y'all, that was my husband. And it's because it took us 3 weeks to have enough money to pay to enroll him. But then that very same night, I enrolled my second distributor, and to this day, well, now her account's canceled, but she never even removed herself from commission hold. So it was a great start. I was like, I'm winning at this. But you know what? I kept going, and this is where like I guess the magic kind of happened for me. And I don't know. I really wish I could give you a more tangible way of. I just saw the light. Like I just knew this could be our way out. And then once I realized that it could be the way out for us, and I started talking to other families, and I thought, other people are living like us. Other people are struggling. Other people are hurting. I am selfish if I don't share this. Then I started getting really excited about that. But back to the part where I was talking about distributors, I can remember it was the very first month that I promoted it was in March, and it was 3 days. It was a Friday. Month end was that following Monday, and I was, gosh, I think it was still 3 distributors away from being charted for Diamond. And Dee was like, "Oh my gosh, I think you could be charted for Diamond." And I was like, I'm not sure what that. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that looks like. Like, I have no idea. So she was sending me charts, and I think what led me to that success, though, was that I was so concerned about the behaviors and not necessarily the results or how many spots or how much BV. I was just concerned with the work. And when I get frustrated in the business now, and I don't mean, maybe frustrated is not the right word, but let's say stuck, because right, we all feel stuck. You hear other leaders talk about, well, go back to what you were doing when you were most successful. And for me, it was when I was ignorance on fire. It was when I just did the behavior. Like I didn't know what it was going to take, because sometimes now, you know, when we're looking at these big, massive charts or even just the comparison and allowing it to steal our joy. I try to go back to that place of like, I just need the $230, and whatever it takes to get that's all that I'm concerned about, and really getting excited about sharing the joy, because the business is a gift. Like I believe that 100% with my whole heart. I say this to our team all the time. I'm like, this is a blessing, and a blessing is a gift, and a gift is not a gift unless you give it away. So give it away. Like we're doing ourselves and other people a disservice when we're choosing not to share.
I love that, because the thing is, like what you said with we make it too complicated. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like think of it as like, okay, well, like, you know, what systems or what methods or what filters or whatever. Like, no, it's not about that. And Mike Patilla says this all the time. Like, it's not about that. You get paid to enroll customers and keep them, and enroll distributors and help them. That's all you're doing. And what do you do every day? Whatever you need to do to get customers and distributors, because that's how you make money. And helping them make money is how you make more money. So that's all that it comes down to. So I love that. And what else did I write down? I was like writing so fast. So you were 3 distributors. So can you talk a little bit more about those last few days? Because we have people on this team right now who are less than 2,000 BV away from like double diamond, like so many life-changing.
That just made goosebumps, y'all. Yes, I can talk about it. Okay, so this goes back to that part of ignorance on fire. So remember how I talked about, I didn't know that it was not normal for people to not enroll a loyal customer every day. I also did not know that it was not normal to feel like that a diamond, that going diamond or 2,000 GD was impossible. Like I was so ignorant. I didn't allow it to psych me out mentally. Okay. So I think that's a huge part of it. Don't allow it to psych you out, because if you're already thinking this is too big, this is too much, and you're getting those like heart palpitations, right? We've all done it, like breathing in the brown bag. You're deterring yourself from effective time that could be spent moving forward. Like you're stalling, you're not going anywhere. So just prepare for that. And I think like acknowledging that this could happen, and making sure that your mindset is really strong from now through the end of the month. Y'all are going to think like that I'm so crazy. I'm sure my husband thought I was nuts, but I had heard about in someone else's Zoom that I listened to when I was baking. Cause y'all, this was my training. I would go Google how to go diamond with It Works, how to, or I would go into YouTube, how to get to executive or whatever. And I would just play those and listen to them, but I had heard about The Secret. And I knew that it was on like YouTube, and I can remember turning it on our TV, and my husband was like, "What is going on?" And I was like, "I'm visualizing this happening," and he was like, "Okay," and he kept saying, "Now, honey, if it doesn't happen, it's okay." Like, because back then you had 90 days to get the $10,000. If you went diamond in 90 days, you got $10,000. And I was like, no, it's not even about that. It's just about me doing my best. And I think I can do this. And, yeah, I had The Secret on repeat, and I would write down in my planner. I didn't necessarily journal then, but I would write down, I don't know how, but I know that I am. I don't know how, but I know that I am. And I think knowing that in your soul, you guys, and also like being okay with not knowing how. It's okay if you don't know how. You just have to believe that you are, or that you will, or that you can. And it is insane. Like, I seriously get goosebumps. It is insane how God shows up when you have bold faith like that. When you were like, I don't know how, God, like, I don't know how. Because that's when he gets the ultimate glory, right? When you're like, this was humanly impossible, but it just happened. And it's just such an opportunity, like, to shine and grow your faith and give God the glory. And I think that that's amazing, that we work in a business that allows us to do things like that, to throw your faith out there, even if you're scared, and claim it. So like, if you are that close, just so y'all know, hold on, let me ask, babe, how much volume do we have to do? It was almost $4,000, you guys, in like 3 days. It was insane. Like, now in reflection, I'm like, oh my God, I was insane, because I'm jaded, because, you know, I've seen or experienced, and I'm like, oh my gosh, $4,000. But then there was so much ignorance on fire. I was like, yeah, sure, $4,000. Like, do it. So sometimes you have to go back to that place. Like, you have to put on those blinders and have almost like childlike faith in yourself, you know, like you can do anything in the world. And when you throw your faith out there, that's when miracles happen, when faith meets work.
I love that. That is so good. I don't know how, but I know that I am. I'm going to start saying that, like, just all the time.
Just like repeat it out loud, dude. I say it about Ambassador all the time. I'm like, I don't know how. I don't know how, but I am.
That's so good. Okay, so how do you keep motivation even whenever your team isn't working?
Okay. This is like the ever like lasting question in MLMs, isn't it? Okay. First, you can only control what you can control. And you can control your attitude. You can control your behaviors. You can control your responses. We cannot control, unfortunately, our team members and their attitudes, or how motivated they are. And believe it or not, this was not a lesson that I learned in an MLM. I actually learned it. I was working at an American Eagle store, and I'll never forget it. I was interviewing for an assistant management job, and they asked me why I should get it. And I was like, well, I'm a great motivator. And the district manager paused, and she said, no, wait, you cannot motivate other people. You can only inspire them. And inspiration is contagious, but motivation must come from within. And so it's crazy how that's relevant in our business today. And when I feel like, and let's be real, like, it's hard when you're leading a team that you can feel like when there may be a valley of momentum or motivation. And I think that the most important thing that you can do at that time is remember that you can't motivate them, but you can inspire them. And the way that we can inspire people is through action and through controlling like our own attitudes and our own responses. But that's hard for a lot of people, is acknowledging that like you can't necessarily go change that. But what you can do is continue doing the right things, and you guys continue bringing newness into your business. Kelsey Thornton I just watched it today. She did a Zoom with the Duns, and she uses an analogy talking about getting in a car and driving to LA, like across the nation. And she uses the analogy of that some people will get in and some people will get out, and some are going to ride the whole way, but making like the most of the journey and being okay with that. Sometimes I think we cling so desperately to someone when maybe they lack motivation or lack vision, when really like that was just their lifespan, like, or that was just their season. But it's so important that we keep our eyes going forward. I say to our team all the time, like, don't look left and don't look right. You're not going that way. You're going forward. So keep moving forward, and those who are meant to come will come. Another great analogy, and I think I heard this from an Eric Worre training on YouTube, but he talks about, in a movie, and there's like a railroad train and like there's like a damsel in distress that like gets left behind, and she's like running after the train, right? And whoever's still on the train reaches out their hand for the person who's running to try to catch them. They don't get off the train, y'all, to go save them. They're not like, oh wait, let me just get off and let me run to you and then we'll go back and catch up together. No, they keep going on the train. They extend a hand, but it's up to the person that's running with them to catch it. And so I visualize that a lot in our business, that you can only go to sleep knowing that like you did your best for that day and that your mind was right. And if it wasn't, then check yourself. And when you check yourself and you're doing personal development, or you need to go talk to Jesus, or you need to play your happy playlist, whatever it is, then you need to make peace that like you're only in control of you and you can only do your best every single day. And love them anyway. Love them anyway. Even if like they're disappointing you, you got to remember that like that's their business and you're responsible for yours, and to do your best and love them anyway.
That is so perfect. It's exactly what I would have said, but even better. So, okay, somebody wanted to know how conference changed your business? You were at conference last year, right?
Last year was my first year at conference. Yeah. So it was my very first conference with the business. And we were there. So, okay, if you've never been to conference, I'm going to try to create like this visual for you. I mean, it's like a sports arena, right? So it's like, there's like the center, and then it goes like up and around and around and around, like all the way up. Okay. Y'all, we were so far like back at the top, and it was so crowded. It wasn't even like we were like in the nosebleeds and like could see the stage. We were in the nosebleeds behind it. We couldn't even see the screens, like nothing. We were behind it. And what was significant about that month, in December, previous to that January, I lost rank for the first time. I had lost rank as a double diamond and was paid as a diamond. I think someone asked a question about like, so then if I went through anything, but anyway, so I'd grown a lot and was still growing and knew that I needed to soak up everything I could there. And I was telling my husband when I saw these questions, I was like, I don't remember necessarily like one major moment. My two big takeaways were recognizing that people were like me, that they were no different than me, that they were no better, they were no smarter. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are better and smarter and funnier and prettier, great hair, whatever, it doesn't matter. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, they are people, and that they had a journey and had to put in the work just like I did. And if I would put in the work, then I could get results just like they did. So I soaked up everything. It's funny, I'm not a super emotional person. It's really weird. Like, there are times I want to cry and I can't cry. I just don't cry. Like, it's weird. I'm like, I'm feeling things, but just nothing. But you guys, I cried. during the top 150. And I don't know, like I got goosebumps like again now. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did then. But I can remember my husband squeezing my hand and I just said, we can be there. And we are. So this year we are. And that's how conference changed our business, you know. And to give you even more perspective, we were announced in top 150 at the following green carpet. So I lost rank in December, paid as a diamond. And from there to the following, it was June or July, I don't remember which. But anyway, less than like 6 months, okay? We had moved up. That's how fast your business can change. In 6 months, we went from that to being in the top 150, and we are again. And that's how it can change your business. It makes it real. I guess that's a good way to say it.
Yeah, I did the same thing the year before. So I like looked at the top 100 walk and I was like, I want to be there. Like I want to be there next year. And I think I don't remember when they announced it for the first time, but I was on the walk the last year whenever you were looking at it for the first time. I was up there like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? That's like, it's so crazy because you finally believe you can do it because you're like seeing it in person. It's not like it's like on a TV screen where it's like, oh, I just get there. You're watching it like they're in the same room as you. The room is massive and you feel like you're like a world away, but you're in the same room and you're like, what the heck? That is amazing. So there's so many people on this Zoom right now that I literally can feel and envision them being on that top 150 stage next year. And even before that, you know, like depending on how the events are this year, but there's so many people who have that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But whoever these people are, and like she's speaking that life into you, but speak it into yourself. Like give yourself permission to say things like, I am worthy, I am able, I am capable of doing this, or I'm going to do this. And y'all are gonna think like I'm so crazy, but I had top 150 and stage on my dream board. But y'all, I started thinking about I didn't even know if I was gonna be in the top 150 walk, but you better believe I was thinking about what I would be wearing before I even knew. So you have to, like, it sounds crazy, that's my personality, but like visualize it. Be like when you guys watch it this time, I want you to look at everybody up there and think about how you'll pose. Will you be one of those people that do the weird awkward dance? Will you hug? Will you cry? Like, you know, and envision it for yourself, because that's part of believing it. And you're so worthy and able. You're so worthy and able.
That is so good. Okay, what does a typical promotion month look like, and how is it different from just any other month?
We call it the suck. We call it embracing the suck when it's a promotion month. This month feels a little bit like that. You know, it's funny because each one does look different. It does look different. Obviously, like, I came to have knowledge. And what I think is also really important here, when I promoted to double diamond, it wasn't easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it was fast. And I was still so new to the business. I didn't necessarily recognize the gift of speed and momentum yet. And I made a rookie mistake. So hear me now, y'all. If you promote, follow the 24-hour celebration rule, and then get back up like it's day one again the next day. Because what happened when we promoted to double diamond, at that point we had earned $45,000 in our business. Remember, I signed up because we couldn't afford a cleanse. So suddenly I was making more money than I could have fathomed, right? And that was not even 3 full months into the business. And so instead of having that game plan, and this is where I think like personal development is so very important. I know everyone beats that dead horse, but there's a reason for it, y'all. Because I wasn't ready to be a triple diamond leader then. I wasn't. I had a lot to learn. But so because of that, I was just like, this is amazing. Life is amazing. Everything else, like we were just continuing to enroll and it was continuing to happen and everybody was so excited and there was so much momentum. And I just thought like, well, great. It's just going to keep going just like this, right? Like everything's going to be fine. But that's not true. You have to grow into each role. And, you almost thinking of it like, this is how I like to break it down to our teams. You know, if you were to go work, let's use a store as an example, okay? Like a retail store. A key holder might be an executive. A Ruby might be a part-time assistant manager. A Emerald might be a full-time assistant manager. A Diamond might be a store manager. A Double Diamond, maybe an area manager. A Triple Diamond, a district manager, so on, so on, so on, right? Okay. Even if I had all of the hopes and dreams and aspirations of getting to become a district manager or a double diamond, whichever way like you want to call it, right? I still have to grow through those stages of the other leadership roles. And each one changes a little bit because your role changes as your team changes, how you manage your time changes, how you prioritize your time changes, how your mindset changes. And so I think that I thought initially, like, God, I'm ready to be, why am I not a triple diamond right now? Like I mass enroll, I love on my team, I go to events, I don't understand. And I kept saying like, I'm doing everything right. But I wasn't growing my mind as a leader. I was not prepared to ultimately lead what should be like about an ambassador size team. I'm an advocate for overbuilding when you're going to promote, because you just never know what's going to happen. But anyway, into a promotion month, to answer that question. Sorry, I'm rambling, y'all. We call it the suck because anything that can be, and I hope I'm just being like real honest and raw with y'all. So good, bad, ugly, indifferent, like this is what it looks like. Anything that can be sacrificed outside of our family. And y'all, like, I'm not even kidding. I'm talking laundry. Like it was a joke in our leadership chat. We had a mountain of laundry in our home, in our spare bedroom, the month that we went triple. I was like, okay, what can go? What can go? Laundry can go. Taking, my husband said, it was all clean. We just didn't fold it. We washed it and it went into the mountain. But it was, and this is not, hopefully you guys maybe have better time management than even I did. But for me, I used to be a part-time fitness instructor, obviously you knew that, but I gave up teaching those classes because the difference of those couple extra hours a night, like I needed that. Like, and not even that I necessarily maybe needed it. There are other people who maybe do it with less time, but you guys, I said from the beginning, I'm one of those people, like I have to go to bed at night knowing I did my best. And if I feel like I left something on the table, that would bother me more than if I gave it my all and didn't make it. Like it would kill me if I didn't make it. And I was like, well, I went out every Friday night still. And we still prioritized our family. Don't get me wrong. I have a little girl. We prioritized our family and no phone time with her. But during a month of a promotion, I don't really leave my house those days. I'm just being honest. I get up in the morning. We did 6 a.m. power hours with our team during it. So many messages, so many messages. It looks like less posting and more inboxing for me. When I do post, it is insanely intentional and probably like a little more sales heavy for me during a promotion month. But my social media presence does suffer a little bit because I'm focusing on time in inboxes more than I am in news feeds. Does that help? I don't even know if I answered that all the way.
Did, and that was really good because I like that you kind of put that out there that it's gonna be sucky, like it's gonna.
Oh, it sucks. Like,
yeah, and it's gonna be so worth it too. And you're not gonna. Yeah. I always tell people, I'm like, I didn't sleep at all. Whenever.
Oh yeah, I think we ran on like maybe 4 hours of sleep. And my husband was still working full time then. And God bless his soul, bless his heart. He would come home to me like not having bathed. Like I would oh, this is a tip, you guys. If you're pushing for a promotion or planning for like next month, take as many amazing pictures of yourself as you can right now, because during the promotion month, like your hair is dirty. There is no makeup. Like you're not doing anything cool to share. But you know what? It's one of those things, like it sucks during it, but in reflection, it's like one of those like best memory kind of things. And you're like, I did it. I did that. And it's even more fun like when you do it with your team and they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't washed my hair either, and this is great, and you're feeding off each other's energy. But I say that it sucks. It's also a lot of fun.
Well, no, and it sucks, but in a good way. Like
Yes.
It sucks, like, and it sucks with other people. Like
yes.
It's more fun, and like I'll have girls texting me and they're like I'll FaceTime them and they'll be like, hey, I can't answer, but I'm messaging in the shower. I'll like, FaceTime you back when I get out, and they're like with their phones in the shower.
In the shower, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
that's the truth.
And it's I tell people all the time, like I don't look back on my promotion. Triple Diamond was probably the most grueling promotion for me.
Grueling.
Then like Diamond, Double, Presidential, like I feel like I don't know why, but man, Triple, like I remember that was the time where I didn't sleep. I ate microwave meals for every meal because I was like, I had like 60 seconds for you to heat up, and that's it. And like, and I was messaging, and like I just didn't have time to cook. I didn't go anywhere. And but I tell people now, I don't do that every month. Like that's a promotion month.
Yes.
Question, and that's like how you are in those promotion months. But I never look back and say, man, in May 14th, 2017, I really wish I would have had that extra hour of sleep.
No.
Like you never regret the time that you put into this business. And Cammie, whenever she was building, in the field, she was #1 income earner, made well over $100,000 a month, not a year, a month. And the one thing people would always ask her, what would you go back and do differently? She said, I would have given it more time. I would have put more time into my business. And you look at the person who probably has given their business the most time outside of anyone else has ever been the #1.
She said more.
And she said that she wishes she would have given it more. And I'm like, wow, that is so inspirational. Because I could have come up with like 8,200 other things I would have said, but she said more time. I was like, that is good. That's so good. Okay. What's your favorite self-development book? That's all I'll ask you about that one. Or
favorite. I'm gonna give you guys a couple. I'm gonna give you a couple that were just like light switches for me. That I read early on. Go for No and Get Over Your Damn Self. Those were probably some of the very first ones. And I think what they did for me was they just gave me perspective of what was coming, to anticipate rejection. And rejection is such an ugly word, but to anticipate that it wasn't going to be an immediate yes. So knowing that, I was very proactive in all of my approaches as opposed to reactive and allowing it to mess with me and my emotions.
Which is good because it's like a speed bump. If you're driving in the car and you're not looking and you don't know a speed bump's coming, it is a lot worse. Like jolts your car, like you were like nervous because you didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Speed bump, you slow down, you anticipate it, and it's not a big deal. But it happens, and you still go over that speed bump. But I'll write them in the chat, or if you want to write them, that works.
Either way. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just gonna ask the next question. You kind of said your hardest promotion already, and we talked about that, so I'll skip that question.
Definitely Triple.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but yeah, that was the hardest for me, but it was so good. If you could go back to the day you joined, what is one thing that you would change or do differently?
I asked my husband this because I was like, I was so all in. Like, I really was. The only thing, I joked and I said I would cancel bakery orders because I continued to work full time. I didn't cancel anyone's orders. Like I was booked with wedding cakes 8 months out and I kept everything, and still worked the business during that. So I joked and said that, but I think more than anything would be kind of like the speed bump thing or the anticipation. You can choose. Like you're either on offense or defense, right? Like there is no in between. You're on offense or defense, and you can choose how you're going to work your business. And when you can operate optimistically and realistically at the same time, like it is a thing. And you can anticipate, if not with yourself, get with Morgan and be like, okay, like real talk me what some speed bumps are going to be. Because when you know that, you can prepare for it and it doesn't hurt as much. And I say hurt because we do pour our hearts and souls into our business, right? It does hurt when something happens and you're disappointed, or your best friend leaves, or what, for whatever reason, maybe someone lacks motivation or life happens. But anticipating that and knowing, and preparing for how you're going to respond to these things will make all the world of difference. Because and I say that especially with Triple, because we ran for a Triple promotion with almost an entirely different Triple chart about 6 months prior to the one before, and I wasn't prepared for all that would happen. I wasn't prepared for if life happened to someone, or how to have that many hands and that many chats and that many leaders and touch that many people. I just wasn't ready for that. But that experience, that failure, is what made, when we did go Triple, it was grueling and it did suck, but it was so smooth. Like everything that went wrong, I knew it was coming. And so I was prepared. But that would be like, I wish I could go back and be like, okay, Lauren, people are going to reject you. People are going to quit. People are going to leave. It has nothing to do with you. Just keep going.
Because we're so hard on ourselves and we think, well, there must be something that I could have done differently. There must be something that I changed. And it's not. Like, we are so quick to, extend grace to other people, but then we're so hard on ourselves whenever somebody quits, or we take it so personally, like it's our fault, but it's not. So that's a really good reminder. Another question, and we only have this one and then like one other one, and we should be able to finish in the next 5 minutes. But what is something, basically what she's asking is, what do you do and how do you continue to motivate yourself to work your business? Because we already talked about how motivation comes from within and all that stuff. When things in your personal life are, for lack of better words, crappy and they suck, and things happen, and we know, I mean, man, if you're in the business for longer than about a year, something's going to happen. The good, the bad, the ugly, you get married, you get a divorce, whatever. Something's going to happen. It's going to happen in your life where you're going to feel like, oh shoot, like you get knocked down. You're like, do I get back up or do I just stay here? And you get to choose. And so has that ever happened to you? And what did you do?
Absolutely. Okay. So I think there are a couple of things very similar to the conversation that we just had about like reactive or on defense or offense. Like, embrace that it is going to happen, that it is not a matter of if, it's when. It's going to happen. And prepare. This is where like that personal development is so important. Prepare now for how you're going to choose to respond to things like that. And you know what? There are going to be times like there was a time when my grandfather got really sick and he passed away my first year in the business. And did my business look different that month than other months? Absolutely. Do I regret that? No, not at all. Because of it works, I was able to be by his side more and to dedicate that time. I was able to make that personal choice. So I think like empowering yourself to say, I get to choose how I deal with this right now. I get to choose how I'm going to respond from this. It can make you bitter. It can make you better. And I say that to our little girl. I say it to myself all the time. Like, okay, Lauren, like it's time to decide. Is this going to make you bitter or is this going to make you better? You decide. There's no like sulking in the middle of it. Like decide right now and go. And then I think that the other thing, this is one of my favorite quotes. And I think anytime I felt like I hit a wall in the business before, and not even so much with comparison, but you would see other people that were succeeding, right? And I don't know where I got this quote from. I can't take credit for it, but it's someone else has been dealt the same hand of cards and has won with it. And I tell myself that all the time. Like, there's someone else who's dealing with heartache that I can't imagine. There's someone who's dealing with grief. There's someone who's dealing with pain. There's someone who's there are people who are dealing with something everywhere. Everyone has skeletons in their closet, but it's all about how we choose to respond when life happens. And I think the way that you prepare for that is personal development and faith. And it sounds silly, but having things in place, anticipating that, whether it be journaling or like Rachel Hollis talks about having a happy playlist. Like, she has this, it's the Hail Mary of playlists. Like, it's there for only when something is terribly wrong and she's having the worst of worst days. Like, this playlist is saved just for that. Maybe it's a book, or knowing yourself well enough. And I also encourage you to have conversations with your like with Morgan or whoever, like your direct upline or enroller is, of what you want them to do. This is before it happens, but have a conversation with them and saying, okay, life is going to happen to you at some point in the business. You're going to want to quit at some point in the business. You're going to lack motivation at some point in the business, and go through some of those speed bumps like Morgan called them, and ask me, how do you want me to respond? Are you the type of personality that wants me to come say, girl, get it together? Like, do you need that? Or are you one of the people that need a hug and a card in the mail and flowers? I'm not going like all into color personalities, but I think it's important even when you first onboard someone, is to say, like, how do you want to be talked to or coached? Because some people handle it different ways. But you just got to know, life happens to everyone. It's not you. You're not a victim. You are not being picked on by God. That whatever mountain you're given, it's to show other people that it can be moved, and it's inevitable. You get to choose if you're going to win with that deck of cards.
Oh, that was so good. Okay, do you have any like one last little tip that you would give us just to leave with, like any encouragement, anything?
Yeah, identify what your best is. Your best is not Morgan's, not mine, not Mark's, not Cammie's. What is yours? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many enrollments you have, how pretty your Instagram pictures are. It's you being proud of the business that you're building and getting to lay down with that at night and be like, man, I did good. I did good today. And that looks different for everyone else. But identify what that is for you and celebrate it all the time. Celebrate yourself all the time, because those wins are really what matters most. That's it.
That was perfect. I love that so much. I've never heard that. Like, I mean, like, do your best, but like, what is your best? Like, figuring out what that is and then being proud of that and not comparing it with somebody else, because they're not going to have the same best that you have, you know?
Yeah.
That was so good. Okay, well, thank you so much for this Zoom. We appreciate you, and we cannot wait to see you at conference. And congratulations on Top 150. That's so fun.
Congratulations to you. I'll see you on the cruise. And any of you guys, if you're at conference, please come find me. Take a picture, take a selfie. We'll hug it out. But I look forward to meeting you there. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for doing this and pouring into us. This was amazing. And my phone's already blowing up from people just like saying thank you and just like aha moments. So we really, really appreciate it. Thank you for doing that.
Anytime.
All right. Well, y'all have a good night, guys. Bye.
Bye.